Okay, folks, this is the corollary chart for tragedy and hope. We're going to call this Quigley's dilemma because it is the centerpiece of why he named the book Tragedy and Hope. He said it was a tragedy that he thought Western civilization or Western culture was going to go down the tubes, and he had hoped that this book, the study of this book, could find a method or a way out to where it could be extended. But we're gonna in this chart we're gonna show you why. Okay, if you've listened to the parts thus far, you know that there's a cycle of civilization, and we have the various tracks. We have the various tracks up here. Now, the normal cycle of civilization goes from mixture gestation to expansion, crisis or age of conflict, to the universal empire. Then after that, it decay, and then invasion. It becomes material for the next civilization. Okay, we're going to, so Quigley goes through the Western civilization cycle. Okay, the first part was mixture under Rome. After Rome fell in 377, or between 377 and 350, to the Visigoths, it broke down and became pieces or material for the next civilization. So these elements came together, the gang plow, the three-field system, the mounted horse, the mounted warriors that the Visigoths and the others brought in, a different way of using fighting and growing food, and plus the material and the technology that Rome had brought in. So we had a mixture under the fall of Rome. Then it gestated into a feudal manor system right here. Feudal states. Gestated into feudal states, which expanded. The feudal states expanded under feudalism. These feudal states, because they were successful, a successful way of growing food and protecting themselves, the idea and the power started to expand. They started to incorporate more and more people and more land. Then after that, after it reached a certain peak where it couldn't expand anymore, the idea couldn't expand anymore, they started fighting to, the different groups, the different feudal states started fighting for dominance. They fought for dominance, which is called the First 100 Years' War, which is basically fought from this age of conflict from 1270 to 1440, and it finally, the 100 Years' War finally ended by being conquered, or most of it being conquered, under England. Now, normally, it would follow this track right here. But it didn't. Feudalism was supplanted by what Quigley calls commercial capitalism or mercantilism. So it found, the Western civilization found a new principle to expand under mercantilism, and it started it delayed this process and started this process all over again. Okay, it expanded and from the Mediterranean all the way up, the East Indian companies with Great Britain and the Dutch and whatnot, the Spanish, conquistadors. They expanded all over the globe, and it found a new principle to expand under. Then, as that died out, or that lost energy, again, they started fighting over the pieces. They started fighting for dominance because of the idea of lack. They couldn't expand anymore. And that became, guess what? The Second 100 Years' War, or the Second Age of Conflict. And that finally ended when during the Napoleonic Wars, when Napoleon conquered the West, or conquered the core of the Western civilization. Okay, again, another principle, another ism supplanted that, and that was industrialism, or industrial capital. The Industrial Revolution happened, started in England, and it spread to America and all over. So guess what? It started to expand again, and it supplanted the Age of Conflict, and it kept France from being the universal empire. It started a new cycle under industrialism, led by the United States and Germany. So then again, it as always, it loses steam. It stops expanding, and you're going to get a third age of conflict. This time even bigger, because industrial capitalism or industrialism brought in mechanized warfare, and the people that were best at it were the Germans. And Germany fought four wars and 2 world wars. 2 of them world wars. And they finally conquered the whole of the core in 1942. And in this time, it took an outside force, which was the United States, and its twin brother, which was the Soviet Union, to come in and supplant Germany from becoming the universal empire. Now this was Quigley's dilemma. Would there be another principle or another age for age of expansion, a principle for the age of expansion to continue, or would it stop? Now, he said there was 2 possibilities. Possibility one was that the United States would which had defeated Germany in World War II and brought in Bretton Woods, would become the sole superpower and become the universal empire, and they would rule for however long the civilization would last. And eventually, when the United States lost power, it would get decay at the edges, and then Western civilization would become material for somebody else, China, Russia, whoever. The second option, and this is the option that I think is happening, and you can guess and see if that's wrong, is what we call where we're into now, which is the digital revolution, when computers and electronics came about. You're going to have if we're correct, we have a 4th age of expansion. And what we could be right now, since right now in the 21st century is the fourth age of conflict, not necessarily warfare. Hopefully it won't get to that, where the United States is the sole superpower and they're the core empire. They've defeated everybody else, or just about everybody else, in the core empire, but they're also decaying. And China is rising. Now, could China be the final step, the universal empire, and finally complete the cycle? Where Western civilization will die within the next 100, 150 years. Or could be more, we don't know. But that is Quigley's dilemma. So I thought I'd draw this flow chart because it confused me in the book. I thought it would confuse everybody else. So this is what I came up with. Leave me comments or in the box and tell me what you think.